Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's online group session. We are celebrating this beautiful week filled with Maharshi's knowledge and practicing transcendental meditation and asanas together. And today we have a really very special guest with us. Her name is Miss Amrita Srivastav, and she'll be talking about what is yoga, health, and Ayurveda. And she'll be giving a presentation, and then we'll take some questions on the same. Ms. Amrita Srivastav is a certified teacher of transcendental meditation and senior graduate instructor in the Department of Physiology at Maharishi International University, Fairfield, Iowa, USA. She is also pursuing her PhD on physiology and mental health in terms of Ayurveda. She has her academic experience in the field of medical biotechnology, molecular biology, and human genetics. She has taught transcendental meditation to various people and worked with Ayurveda centers as a consultant. And she's also a TM Siddhi administrator. So, Ritaji, please go ahead and enlighten us with your knowledge.
Thank you, Ankit. Jagadev, everybody. I'm so glad to be speaking to this assembly, and you all have been enjoying the past week, and hope we continue to enjoy the weekend also together. So, as Ankit said, I have a short presentation on yoga and so mostly focusing on health and how the yoga, the understanding of it, and how yoga asana benefit us. So, should I start, Ankit? Can I share my screen and start? Okay. Okay, so yeah, my presentation is on yoga and health. And yoga, as we all know, is the union. Yoga is a union of mind and body. And this image represents the union between the individual physiology and the cosmic physiology. So that's why I've selected this image uh, as a picture to represent my presentation. So we begin a little bit talking about what is health. You know, you all are meditators and you all must have heard this, that health, swasthya, is not just absence of any disease. Health is being established in oneself. Maharishi has often explained us the meaning of swasthya. Swasthya is being established in oneself. So real health is enlightenment and the total potential of natural law being lively in our physiology. That is health. And in Ayurveda, the definition of health is when you have balanced doshas, balanced agni, balanced tissues, and balanced elimination of waste, established in the self with the mind, soul, and self full of bliss. That person is called healthy. So you must have heard this shlok. It's from Shushruta Samhita, a book on Ayurveda. This defines health in its wholeness. Your body is balanced, your agni is balanced, you have good digestion, regular elimination, and still, if your mind and senses is not full of bliss, that's not complete health. So this shlok summarizes health in its wholeness. So, consciousness based approach to health. The consciousness based approach to health works to enliven the inner intelligence of the body, of the individual. And by enlivening that own inner intelligence, it creates health on the deepest level of mind and body. It's as Mershi said, we don't have to do anything. All we have to do is meditate and enliven our own inner intelligence, and then that knows what to do. That knows how to bring the mind and body in balance. So with the practice of TM and its advanced techniques, We enliven the field of infinite intelligence to work for us, creating the invincibility. So this creates invincibility for the individual. So this is in Shiv Samhita. It's a shlok that defines the qualities of a yogi. Because we're talking about yoga, so I thought this would be very appropriate. The following qualities are surely found to be in the body of every yogi: strong appetite, good digestion, cheerfulness, handsome figure, great courage, mighty enthusiasm, and full strength. When you have all these characteristics, then you can consider yourself being a yogi. So, and how do we achieve all of this? You know, we have to change, have an ideal lifestyle, natural law working for us. But the one thing that you can do for this is meditation. As Mershi says, like watering the root to enjoy every aspect of the plant. When you're meditating, all these things come into balance automatically. Hmm. So yoga. So yoga is the union of mind and body. And through this whole week, you all must have heard this a lot of times that we have 8 limbs of yoga: yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. And sometimes it's misunderstood as 8 steps towards yoga, and samadhi is the last step. But Mahर्षि always explains that these are the 8 limbs, Ashtang Yoga. One cannot function without the other. So it's all in one togetherness. Yoga by itself means union. So it encompasses all of these. In this presentation, what we'll little bit focus on is yoga asana, the physical form of it, the physical aspect of it. So you all know Maharshi asanas and you have been doing it. I would just reinforce why it's important and how it's useful for us. So benefit of yoga asana in the language of modern science. We have a lot of neurophysical aspect of it, neurophysiological aspect of it. First is we have brain integration. The functioning of our brain becomes more and more integrated, and there is more coherence or more integration in the neuromuscular section. So neuro is the brain and muscular the whole physiology. So there is a very good coherence in the body. So that's one benefit. Next is neurological balance between right and left hemisphere of the brain. You often have heard that in some people, right is more dominant or left is more dominant, and one person is more creative, one is more analytical. When we're practicing meditation, we have seen this research that there is more coherence between the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And same thing happens with yoga asana also. It increases that balance, it increases that coherence between the right and left sides of the brain. Then it promotes the balanced functioning of neuropeptides. Neuropeptides are secretions that happen between neurons. Two neurons, there's something that goes from one to the other, and that's what sends the message through that gap. So, if there is more functioning of that, balanced functioning of that, your body would be more reactive, like more. How does Mershi say it? More refined in its functioning. All your senses are more refined in functioning. So that's what happens when you're practicing yoga. Now, physiological aspect, there is gravitational effect, homeostasis, the blood flow, and nourishment. Gravitational effect we can understand as like the whole day we are standing or walking or doing something. So we are against the gravity. Human body is amazingly designed. It's against the gravity, and it has great functioning. So whenever we do yoga, we do to see the effects on the opposite side also. We do certain poses, certain asanas that reverse the gravitational flow. And what it does, it helps your body. It helps your body with the blood flow everywhere. It reaches your brain, it reaches all the organs of your body. And when you work against the gravity, what it does to the body is there is some friction there. So that improves your muscles, that improves your bone density, that improves your muscles, it gives you strength. So that's also a very good benefit that we often miss, or we don't see it as that, but it's also a very good benefit that we get out of practicing yoga asana. Homeostasis, as we know, is creating balance in the body. Everything is in balance in our body. You should have uh, this much level of hemoglobin, this much level of blood cells, this much level of WBCs. Everything is set. So by doing yoga, what it does, it brings back into balance. Obviously we're doing all the other things, trying to lead a healthy life, but if you're adding yoga asana to it, it increases that balance, blood flow and nourishment. With doing certain yoga asana and poses, what we do is we twist and turn our body, but we never try to force it. Marshi yoga asana are always very pleasant. It's a steady state of pleasantness. That's what we've been saying. It's a pleasant state of steadiness. So what it does, it increases blood flow and it reaches all the organs of the body and thus provides nourishment. So perfect health in terms of physiology, mind, and intellect. So these are some of the benefits that you see at the body level, at the mind level, and your intellect level. And this is in relation to when we're practicing yoga asana. Physiological level, it tones the muscles and ligaments, the traction of the bones. This is what happens when I was explaining the gravitational flow. And then blood flow and blood pressure, they are normalized. Activity of the nervous system, autonomic and somatic functions, cognitive functions. So your perception is more refined, and the level and flow of neuropeptides and hormones. All this is at a body level, and you sometimes don't see those changes, but sometimes you do. But our work is to just do those innocently, so we get the benefits out of it. And that's why Marshi Yoga Asanas, we never ask you to force a pose or try to do something. It is at the level of a steady pleasantness. As soon as you feel a pleasant stretch, you stop there. Then at the mind level, your thought content and your emotions, they are more balanced, they're more harmonious with the nature, and they're more happy or blissful. And at the intellect level, your intelligence is more refined, the power of discrimination between right and wrong, clarity and a sense of direction, fulfillment, success, and purposefulness. These are the things sometimes we don't give credit to yoga for this, but it has a very uh, big hand in doing these things. You see the difference before and after, mm, at these level also. So the total value of yoga. Yoga is both the unified state and the unifying process. So yoga is samhita or togetherness. And I've explained this in terms of Maharishi Vedic science just a little bit. So as we have the Rishi, Devata, and Chandas, and we call it as knower, the process of knowing and known. When these three are working in togetherness or working together, that's what creates the samhita value. And in yoga asana, what happens is knower is the person doing it. The process of knowing is a particular posture that you get into, or a particular asana that you're doing. And the chandas value is that being established in the self. So when all these three become one in that moment, so that's togetherness, and that is yoga. And I've correlated to Ayurveda also, to the value of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And the togetherness of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha is Ojas. I'm sure you know these terms, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These are the doshas in the body. Vata is responsible for the movement in the body. Pitta is responsible for the digestion or any processing in the body. Kapha is the structural aspect of the body. So when all these three are in unison, the body what creates is ojas. The opposite to ojas is ama, which is the toxins in the body. So if all these three are working in togetherness in balance, it creates ojas for the body. So fulfillment of yoga, why do we do it? And we do it for enlightenment or unity consciousness. And everyday life, we will always live in three states of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and sleeping. These are the three states we alternate our lives in. But with transcendental meditation, we have experienced another state, transcendental consciousness. And with the experience of transcendental consciousness, we have seen that there is more to it. There is more to waking, there is more to dreaming, and there is more to sleeping. So with this, we rise to higher states of consciousness, CC, cosmic consciousness, and God consciousness, GC. Sometimes we say it as refined cosmic consciousness also. So I've written it in steps, but transcendental consciousness, when it's with you all the time, that's CC, or that is cosmic consciousness. And when that is further refined, and that then it becomes God consciousness, that you see everything in its finest level. You're the most refined state. And then the ultimate state of human, the supreme state of human existence, Maharshi says, is as unity consciousness, when there is no difference between the relative and the absolute. So that is enlightenment. And yoga is, with meditation and the asana and all the other limbs together, it is a step towards enlightenment. I've added some scientific studies. This is the effect of yoga based on lifestyle, inter- lifestyle intervention on subjective well being. It's an older study from 2008, but it is a good one. And it was done in India. And it had different parameters to see the before and after, the health benefits, by adding yoga into it. And in this study, they only added asanas, they didn't add meditation, because sometimes yoga is just understood as asan, yoga asan. But still, nevertheless, it does have benefits, as we all just heard. So scientific studies gives us knowledge and experience. Knowledge we have gotten from Maharishi, that this is what happens, is what happens, and the science is proving it. And then we have the experience of it. So knowledge and experience together, that gives the best results. I have added another study. This is more recent. It's from 2012. Physiological benefits of yogic practices and transcendental meditation in health and disease. In this, yogic practices were yoga asanas and transcendental meditation, as Maharishi Ji taught us. And in this, they measured the effects of yoga on the nervous system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, people with diabetes, and how it improves immunity, uh, obesity, obese people, arthritis, and even cancer. So they had different number of people for different studies. So I haven't attached the whole paper, but you can look into it. It's very interesting, and they've given all the details how they did the study. So they had groups of people with these conditions, and they added transcendental meditation and yoga asana to their routine, and then they saw them after. So the conclusion was that it indicated considerable health benefits, including improved cognition, respiration, reduced cardiovascular risk, BMI, blood pressure, and even diabetes. It also influenced the immunity, and joint disorders. So even though there are not many studies done on this, but it's a growing field. And we can do scientific studies because we have a personal experience that this does change. And more the awareness is growing that this is needed. So personal experience, I had the slot in case anybody wants to share their personal experience, or if you have any questions, we can pause here. And in case nobody has questions, I can share my personal experience of yoga asana. Is I understand the value of it if I don't do it. So yoga asana is such an easy, and I'm talking about Maharshi yoga asana. They're the most easiest form of exercise to do it with the most benefit. It's like anybody can do it, and if they do it regularly, you don't need any other exercise. This is good enough, to balance anything that's happening in your body. So yeah, as I was saying, my personal experience is if I do it, I feel everything is aligned. And the best time to do it is before your meditation. You do asan, you do pranayam, and then dhyan. And so this cycle is the wholeness. You can improve your life with this cycle of asan, pranayam, and dhyan. And in my personal experience, if I don't do it, that's when I see the imbalances happening in the body. So I would end my presentation with this quote from Maharishi: the experience of happiness is a direct means of replenishing life energy and revitalizing the mind. Ushiji has written this in his book Science of Being and Art of Living, 1963. And Maharishi has often said that when you're practicing yoga asana, that's the golden time of the day. So that's when uh, you should take out that time in your life to do those. And it's a state of, as I said earlier, a steady pleasantness, and never exert to do any posture or never exert to try to do anything. Eventually your body would adjust to it and would start doing it. So I would conclude with this. And
Thank you so much for such beautiful presentation. So full of knowledge. Both the aspects were really complete, Vedic and scientific, really full. Mhm. If
I have a
anyone
question.
had, yeah, any questions, they can ask. You can write it on the chat box.
There is one question. It's a good question. On what basis the Marshi Yoga asanas are selected? So it's
Mm.
out of the Patanjali Yoga. So there are different asanas, and Maharishi Ji has selected certain ones, and he has set one of this. So it encompasses all the different sections of the body, your systems, and each asana targets a particular thing, and that's why he advised to do it in that order, the way he has created. But it is from the original Maharishi Patanjali Yoga. If we do asana, so yes, definitely. So if you do asanas in a very easy, pleasant way, you would want to do it again, and you would want to continue with it. If you strain your body in just first day trying to do something perfectly, then your body would not be able to understand how to do that again. You won't go back to it. So what we want to create is a habit of doing it. And if you do it easily, one day, if there is, for example, you have to turn a certain way. First day you might turn only 5 degrees, but the next day you'll see you're turning 10 degrees. Next day you're turning a little bit more, and then you would achieve that. So anytime you stretch, you reach a pleasant state, and that's when you stop. And every time that state would be a little bit more, and that's how you reach the perfect posture for that. But we never try to strain it. If we strain anything, the body is not happy. And as TM meditators, we all know we don't strain in our meditation. Also, we don't try to force the mantra, or we don't try to concentrate. So even in asana is the same, because it has to be an effortless process, and it definitely holds benefits. So if you are sleeping more in meditation, it's because your body needs that sleep. And maybe you're not sleeping well at night, so anytime the body is getting a chance to rest, it will fall asleep. And initially, we don't try to force oneself out of sleep. We would never try to uh, avoid sleep in order to meditate. If you are starting meditation and maybe after 5 minutes you fell asleep, it's okay. You sleep for that time, and then when you wake up, you complete your 15 minutes more. So but we never try to fight it. And you'll see, like, when your body is done needing that rest that it needs with sleep, then it would enjoy meditation sessions more. but we would never try to force. And other TM teachers can jump in and comment as well. So,
There is one question that if can't do all asanas, can we do some of them?
yes, sure. Best to talk with a TM teacher or your yoga teacher. And if you can't do all, it's okay. We never try to force any asana. And if you have any particular physical injury as well, you should not force any particular pose. And but if you're able to do all of them, then in order how Marshiji has said, we should do in order. And if you have less time, then you should still do all of them, maybe less repetition. So rather than doing first few and not the others, you can do less repetition but complete the whole set. But if you have any concern relating to the body, you shouldn't do certain poses. Like if anybody has a back injury, we don't do sarvangasana, these kind of things. So it's best to ask your DM teacher or your yoga teacher that what poses should I avoid and I should focus on. So yeah, definitely good question. There's a question that says the difference between exercise and yoga asana and the benefits for both. So, a good question. What I would say is exercise is a different thing. Yoga asana is a different thing. Yoga asana does give you a physical workout, but it is more for enlightenment. It's more for that process. It's not a workout or it's not something that specific. It does have physical benefits, maybe more than exercise, but what it does is it's for increasing your level of consciousness. It's raising your level of consciousness. And exercise has its benefits, definitely. Walking or uh, those kind of exercise definitely have benefits, but yoga asana is should be a part of your meditation, as a part of yoga, the union. So uh, that would be my answer for that. Thank you, Jen. um, Good question, Nagaraji. For Hatha Yoga, what I would say is I don't have the expertise on it, so I wouldn't comment. But what I can say listening to Marshi is like if you force anything, then the body is not relaxed and then it cannot transcend. If you're forcing something, like he even says for sitting in meditation, Mahashiji never says to sit in a specific posture to meditate. He always says it's okay to move during meditation. So in same thing in yoga asana also, it should be a comfortable process. As I was saying earlier, you are doing the exercise continuously for every day, twice a day, then your body will be more flexible. It would become more flexible over time. So you wouldn't have to force it. But some people do practice hot yoga, and I I wouldn't know how to explain their experience. Like, what do they experience? But Maharshi Yoga Asanas is meant for transcending. It's meant for that, and it achieves that in its simplicity or in its uh, simplicity. Yes, it's most simple, most natural, and that's why it's more effective because there is no strain attached to the body. There is no strain to do this or to do that or to twist a certain way. As much as comfortable, you do it, and then next day you do it again. It's more comfortable, so it rises to that level. One question: if Marshi Yogasana helps with weight loss? Good question. And yes, definitely, you know, if you make that your habit, then definitely it does, because it balances all the systems. You know, when your systems are balanced, when your blood flow is balanced, when the body is getting nourishment, and obviously all the other things you also have to do, like a proper diet and meditation, so those things included, yoga would definitely help with weight loss. And it's not like if you are doing all the wrong things and then doing yoga and you expect to lose weight, that would not happen, because then that's against natural law. If you are following natural law and then adding yoga asana to it, then that's the best and you would have the best results. Because as we saw, so much integration in the brain, so much coherence in the body, balance in the body. So if all that is happening, then definitely it would balance your weight. Anybody putting on extra weight is an imbalance in the body. It might, the reason might be physical, the reason might be mental, stress eating, anything is possible. But if you're doing yoga, your physiology is getting balanced also, and your mental self is getting balanced also. So when that is balanced, you would lose the weight. So that would be my answer. For children, the age of meditation, uh, so there are two forms. Children younger than 10 have a walking mantra, and it's called the word of wisdom. They can meditate um, in that sense, and children above 10 age, they can do the sitting meditation like we all do as adults. So a very practical question, someone wrote in the chat that they're very happy with the practice of meditation and siddhi. Very good to know. And they do pranayam for 2 minutes, and should they do marshi asan? It doesn't seem to be possible twice a day. So yes, it does take time, and we cannot rush through it, because then it loses the essence of it. So I think, as I said earlier, if you don't have time to do the whole thing, then do less repetition of it. Each asana, rather than doing 3 times, you do it one time, but try to do all of them. If you don't have any physical problem, if any asana is not comfortable, then you avoid that one. And it's best before meditation. If it doesn't seem to be possible, do it at least once a day. You know, but it's best to combine that whole cycle. It's best to combine asan, pranayam, and dhyan. So yes, how do we make this a regular habit? Very good question. And everybody has different schedules. If we are making time for meditation, we can just think and have the intention to add this as a part of our meditation, you know, as a part of that program. Moshiji always says that program time is asan, pranayam, dhyan, siddhis, all of that. It's just one time. So we should motivate each other, and I hope this past week has helped you all to be motivated to do it regularly. But yes, it is a habit that you have to make, and it is once we see the benefits of it, then we should make it a habit. It happens that we miss it, and it's okay. We are not very harsh on ourselves, and we can't go back to it. That's the beauty of Hershey's any technique. You know, he's so easy with it that you can go back to it at any time. So if you have skipped for a few days, it's okay. You know, start again. Have the intention to do it, and with that intention, you'll see that things will work out, and you'll have more nature support to do it, because your body would see those benefits. And once the body sees the benefits, it doesn't want to go back to non-balance. Mhm. So yeah, same thing. Once a day, if it's time constrained, twice a day is recommended with meditation. And with the timing, we don't try to rush it. We try to do how it's taught to us. You know, the whole cycle as you've been doing it through the week. The maximum I can suggest is, if you are under a time pressure, then don't do more repetitions, but do all the poses. Yes, Nagradi, definitely. That would be a beautiful time where Mochi's techniques reaches everybody, and then we can create what he wanted is heaven on earth through TM and Ayurveda. And you all are working towards it. We all are helping towards it, and we can start from ourselves. I can commit that I would do this every day. Then the next person would do it, and that's how, like, one by one, everybody would start doing it collectively. So it's a dream and it's a possibility. So we should work towards it. I don't see more questions, Ankit. It was a good question answer session, good comments.
Mhm. There is one more question. When can one learn the Siddhi program after TM?
Okay, so after TM, you should have some experience of like doing it regularly, and then you can get it checked by a city teacher that if you're ready. We're recommending 6 months of regular meditation and good experiences, and then you should be ready for the commitment of siddhis. Because it adds time to your meditation. So if you're ready for that commitment, then we can start that. And the only sort of criteria is to be regular in your meditation, because even when you learn the siddhis, the team remains the same. You still do meditation, so you should have time for that and the added time for siddhis. So the commitment for each day for siddhi practice, I would just say, like, roughly for now, to add another 30 minutes. So yeah. Jenny, I really hope you can do the siddhi program as soon as you can. So even young children can do the yoga as far as it's comfortable. Above the age of 10, definitely they can start. Younger, they would try to imitate you and do certain poses, which is totally okay. But after 10 and 12, definitely they can start the whole set. But we never try to force anything on the kids as well, because they're more flexible. So we have to be more careful that they don't, bend the wrong way or something. So very gently, very easily, we do that. But if you inculcate that habit in them as soon as they're starting their 12th year, 13th year, or 11th year, it's very good. Then their physiology stays in balance. Same thing Mershi says for meditation also. Mershi ji says that if you start meditating young, then that you never develop stress over time. So it really helps. Yes, definitely. The advanced techniques are also required before you start the TM Siddhi program. So you're a meditator and you have regular meditation experience, then you get certain advanced techniques, and then you become a Siddha practitioner. And then eventually you should try to become a DM teacher also, because that's the most amazing thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part of the presentation, and hope you enjoyed tomorrow as well. This is our weekend for the yoga week, and I've been really happy to connect with you all. And yeah, let's continue this, and let's continue our meditations, our asanas, Maharshi tapes. The best part of any session is the Maharshi tapes. So thank you, everybody. Check it there. Thank you, Ankit.
Thank you so much for such beautiful presentation. We are getting so many messages. Jennifer Cohen said that thank you for this beautiful and inspiring presentation. And Sapna Asthana from Monash University, Lucknow, she also said the same, that it was an excellent presentation. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Amritaji, for enlightening us. Beautiful presentation. Jai Gurudev.